Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a beer, it's time for some Path of Exile discussion. Today I want to talk about one of my favourite parts of content in Path of Exile, the Delve Mines, and why I'm quite likely not going to run them in the 3.15 expansion. So, for those of you that are familiar with Delve, the deeper down this chart, you'll know that the deeper down this chart you get, starting from the very top where it's Act 4 equivalent monsters, all the way down to deep, the monsters get tougher, rewards slowly get stronger, but mostly it's just the case that the monsters get tougher and more numerous. And ultimately this means that early in the Delve Mines is not the most engaging experience if you've already got a powerful character. Now, Delve is somewhat limited, your access to it early in the game. And this means that, broadly speaking, by the time you hit yellow tier maps, you probably haven't made any progress through the Delve Mines. Niko does sort of dig a starting mineshaft for you, and we'll get that to about depth 35, and then he'll stop there. And from there, it's all you on your own. So what this ends up meaning is that for you to engage with Delve content, you need to then run an enormous amount of low tier content. So basically, all of this section down to here is is white map equivalent. This is where we start yellow maps at depth 65. I think that continues to about depth 120 or something like that. That's still tier 9s, tier 10s. And tier 11s kick in at depth 111. So essentially, everything from depth 35 to 110 is going to be boring if you've already got an established powerful character, and it's going to be really boring if you've been running tier 16 maps for a period. And even then, up to about depth 250 or so, the Delve Mines feel like a transmuted tier 16 map in terms of their difficulty, so they don't start becoming engaging for a powerful endgame character, or even a sort of semi-powerful endgame character, until you get to about depth 250 or so. So what this means is that there is a massive chore required in order to get into Delve in any given league. Now, I chose to do that in 3.14. Essentially, this meant sitting through one or two just genuinely boring play sessions where you're running content that's far too easy for you for the promise of future rewards. However, ultimately, I think next league I'm not going to bother with it because it was too boring and it was just too long. What I wanted to suggest as a proposal to GGG in order to address this issue would be that I think that Niko's starting mineshaft, this should continue with its current mechanics up to depth 35. Then, if you don't do the mines for a period of time, like if you focus on your atlas for a period, you'll eventually get to a point where Niko will stay at 35. I think it should progress further, and what I think it should be tied to is the awakening bonus objectives on your atlas. So broadly speaking, I would say that your progress through the atlas, hitting 20 on the awakening bonus is usually something I hit at about 16 watchstones. Hitting 50 is about 20 watchstones. Hitting 80 is about 28 watchstones. Hitting 100 is about 32 watchstones. And then after that, it's quite some time until I actually cap it out and get, usually I don't go for a full 164. So you can see I got 152 in the dying days of the Ultimatum League. I think that this is worth tying it to because this is a sign as to how much you've been running tier 14, 15, 16 maps. The more of them you've been running, the more your awakening bonus is just going to naturally increase through normal gameplay. And so what I suggest happens is that Niko's shaft should extend by 2 points for each point of awakening bonus objective that you get. So that would mean that with my current atlas setup, instead of capping out at 35, like Niko's shaft initially does, it would instead cap out at 339. 339 is a section of the Delve Mines that's going to be reasonably comparable to running a 6 modded rare tier 16 map. If you actually completely cap out the atlas at 164, then that's going to mean that you'll be down at 363, just sort of getting closer to maybe an 8 mod tier 15 map in difficulty. And so it means that you no longer have this situation where there is a massive jump down in difficulty just as your character's starting to get powerful because you decide you want to push into the Delve Mines. Obviously, that leaves a lot of progression available. So, you know, you can push the Delve Mines to 600, where it tends to be more like about 40% delirious tier 16 maps. You can push it to 800, you can push it to 1,000. And if you're absolutely obsessed with Delve, then you can push it much further, and that usually requires specialized builds. And that's just a little suggestion I've had in order to make it so that Delve remains fun at the start of the league. Because ultimately, Delve is currently a chore to get started. I really like the content once it's going, but the startup phase is really, really boring. This is in contrast to other mechanics in the game, like just leveling a character, where the process of leveling a character tends to be pretty fun from start to finish. Sometimes there's individual parts you don't like. You know, like I don't really like Act 7 very much, but those are short, sharp things that you power through. Delve's setup, on the other hand, is a totally different animal, where it's just so long and so miserable. Lastly, I think it's worth pointing out that other league mechanics generally do work something like this. So for instance, if you're running incursion temples, if you ignore everything to do with Elva until you're running tier 16 maps, then your first Elva incursion temple will be tier 16. You're not going to get, the game's not going to say, no, you can't have a tier 16 temple, go and run this tier 5 temple first. No, you can't have the tier 16 temple, you've done the tier 5, but now you've got to do a tier 8 one as well. And I think that that's exactly what the current system with Delve is doing, and that's why I propose this change. Anyways, going to leave it there. If you've got any comments or questions, definitely fire away below. Otherwise, I hope you have fun, and I will certainly be restreaming the big live stream on Thursday American time or Friday, for those of you that are also in Australia, Friday morning, where we're going to be talking about all of the information for 3.15, so definitely tune in for that. Have fun, may your Varlobs have interesting results.